Mark of the Veil started really as an entry into a 48-hour film competition called I-48 in Idaho. At the end of doing that project, there was just, for me, a creative high. We actually made it to the best of show, and there was this feeling of, yeah, we can do anything, let's take on the world.
Shortly after, I hear from Brandon that he's developing a full-length feature, and that the character that was basically in the short film is carried over as a character he wants to use in this larger film. And so while he's interviewing and casting, my guy had already kind of snuck in the back door as Webb, so I got a chance to jump aboard with Webb, which was nice on a number of terms. I already kind of knew what character he was looking for, and I already had the costuming ready for him and carried that through as well.
That was 2010. I started writing a script over the course of the next year into spring, summer of 2011. The really cool thing about Mark of the Veil for me is it contains characters that have been with me ever since I was a teenager. When I first started learning to write, James Sheridan actually was one of the first characters that I created that stuck with me. This character was just always kind of in the back of my head. And as I began writing the script for Mark of the Veil, there came this point where I had inadvertently named the main character James. And at one point I'm writing a scene, and there's just something that happened where it snapped, and I realized this is the beginning of James Sheridan. And then I began casting. Like I said, we had some actors from that I-48 project that were excited to be a part of the film, but there were a lot of other parts that I needed to cast. So I started using Craigslist. Just went on to Boise Craigslist and said, these are the parts that I'm looking for. This is something that I'm wanting to put together, and here's a website so you can learn more about the film. And that was pretty much it. And I had a healthy response from the community.
Brandon and I have been on each other's radar for a while because we've both been making films here in town for years, and we used to be a part of a community called Small Pond Community, which was kind of the hub for filmmakers. And people would post their projects, have discussions about their projects. And one of the things that I remembered about Brandon was that his comments to other filmmakers were always very positive. So I feel like we both kind of checked in with each other over the years, you know, hey, I saw that film that you did, I'd love to work with you sometime. And then finally this project came up. It was like, finally, a chance to work together, here we go. So that's how I got Bree.
You know, I've never had met Brandon until that audition. And I kind of showed up on a whim, like I do on most things, completely unprepared, have no idea what to expect. Seems to be the story of my life. I know it's hard to imagine, you know, considering how classy I dress with the Santa Claus tie. But I really don't I'm not a plan person. So I had heard about that, and I showed up, and he had sent me a couple sides. I think for 2 or 3, maybe even 4 characters. And so I just went in, had fun, and that's pretty much it. He casted me as Ezra, which turned out to be awesome. He said I'd be a good fit for that. It wasn't. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. He goes, that's nothing what I imagined, but I really think you'll do great. Oh, okay. So my whole plan was to do nothing like he imagined, but not ruin it too bad.
I actually auditioned for another role. I got selected for Kylie, which has been fabulous for me. It's been a growing process, and I love her character. She is in journalism, she is determined, she's also very broken in many ways, and it's fun to express all those aspects.
Mark Vashro, who plays James Sheridan, he responded through Craigslist after I had already met him the previous night at a Boise filmmaker gathering.
Well, I had heard about Boise Cutters, which meets the first Tuesday of every month in Boise, and I figured that would be a great community to start getting to relate to people with in the Boise community for film. And so I started going there and talking specifically about Bike Against the Wind, my bicycling documentary, and met Brandon. And he showed, I believe he showed a clip of, I forgot what project, but I was impressed. And then I showed Bike Against the Wind trailer, a teaser trailer that we had. And then I emailed him afterwards related to the project, to do auditioning for Mark the Veil.
He fit the part perfectly. It was James. I was looking at James. And so that was just a really cool start to a long-lasting working relationship and friendship that, if nothing else comes of Mark the Veil, getting to work with Mark Vachereau and having a connection that will last beyond this film really has been worth it.
I think the main reason why I'm very happy with the way that everything has turned out with Mark the Veil and that I've been a part of it is the people that I met and the connections that I've been able to make. Brandon has become a very good friend of mine, and he's helping me out with my project, with Bike Against the Wind now. And being able to find that community in a place like Boise is fantastic.
So as of the fall of 2011, we had our principal cast selected. We did our first table read, and I began trying to figure out the whole world of crowdfunding and fundraising. I tried one in November 2011. It didn't go too well, but I felt confident that if I did it again, maybe with some footage, that I could get some money flowing and we could have an actual budgeted production.